Hey, I'm food editor Liz Johnson.
And sour cherries are in season, and today I'm going to show you how to make an amazingly delicious sour cherry pie.
I want to just start by telling you the difference between sweet cherries and sour cherries. They look pretty similar, but sweet cherries are harder outside, and there's also a little dimple right by the stem. Sour cherries are very, very soft, and in fact, that's why you really don't see them any other time of the year except right around now when they're in season, because you can't ship them. They bruise very easily, and they don't last. So anyway, it's a great time to make sour cherry pie. The first thing we have to do, though, is make our crust. And I have a great no-fail pie crust recipe that I made earlier. First thing you start with is butter. It has to be cold, so you cut your butter first and then put it in the fridge while you do all the rest of the stuff. And then the second thing you do is you measure out your flour. Now, I use cake flour or pastry flour rather than all-purpose because it has less gluten, and that makes for a flakier crust. After you measure out your flour, you add salt and you add baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon of each, and just pulse it quickly together to mix it. Now, here's the real reason this is a no-fail pie crust recipe. Rose Levy-Berenbaum, who does wrote the Pie and Pastry Bible, recommended this in one of her pie crusts, and I have been using it ever since. It just brings it all together, makes it so that it won't crack, and it tastes really great, especially with fruit pies. So you add your cream cheese a little at a time. Just use your fingers and put it right into the food processor. Who doesn't love playing with food? It's a little messy, sure. Pulse it a couple times to mix it up. Add your butter. Make sure it's cold. It's been in the fridge, so it's cold, cold, cold. And you pulse that a few times just so that it comes together like the size of peas. And you want to be able to reach into the bowl of the food processor and pinch the dough. And if it comes together well, but not completely, you know it's about time. Okay, and then you add vinegar and then your ice water, also very cold. You do 2 tablespoons of that. 1, 2. Just pulse it. Now we're going to dump it out. Okay, a little flour, and then the dump. Now, you want 2 crusts from this, so divide it up. The key to this is keeping it cold. And I love one person on my blog once made a comment, and I never forgot it. Treat the dough like it's really hot. Like you don't want to touch the dough. So if the less you touch it, the flakier and more delicious it will be. All right, saran wrap. I hate it. It never seems to work. But all right, here. See? Okay. All right, so then just put the dough. You got to get the dough cold again, so you got to put it in the saran wrap. Cover it. And then put it in the fridge. All right, it's cold now. It's been in the fridge for a while, which is just what you want. See? And now it's time to start rolling it out. Now, a lot of people get frustrated with rolling it out because they want to just roll it out. But just all you need is a very light touch. Start in the middle and then push out and turn it a 1/4 turn or a 1/2 turn. The middle, push out, turn. Because it does take a while, but just keep patience and light touch. Now, I know I said no fail, and I have a big crack, but that's okay. I will show you how to fix it. Just use a little water and kind of push it onto the other part of the dough, and it's fine. And then throw a little bit of flour on it, and you're good. I have never made a perfect pie crust. In fact, most of the time, my pie crusts end up looking rather like, instead of a circle, they look like France. All right, I think I'm ready, so I'm going to use my rolling pin again to pick up the dough, because it's pretty fragile and thin. And then I just kind of slide the pie under it, and then release the crust. So now it's time for our filling. And sour cherries, the pain thing about them is you have to pit them. So I like to set up the 3 I don't know, container method. You know, here's your cherries, here's your pits, and here's your pitted cherries. And this pitter is really good because it has a little guard, so it doesn't go spraying all over the place usually. Just put the where the stem was right at the bottom and push, and there it goes. It's really simple, and I got to tell you, I'm not usually standing here in the kitchen doing it either. All right, after you've pitted, whatever method of pitting you choose to do, you got 4 cups. I have a little bit more than 4 cups because I have a deep dish pie, but if you have a smaller one, use less. And then so it doesn't get so juicy, you put in 1/3 a cup of flour. Always taste before you do your sugar because you never know how sweet or tart they're going to be. It's pretty tart, so I'm going to go with the full 1 cup of sugar. I cheated a little bit because I do like the tart. I don't want it to be too sickly sweet. So like a little bit less. And to make sure we keep that bite, I put a little bit of vinegar. Seriously, not just a tiny bit. Half a teaspoon or less. And then I use both vanilla and cherry extract. I use the cap. Just whatever, a capful. The recipe says 1/4 teaspoon, but 1 capful is fine. Or less or more, however you want. Make it your recipe. Just make sure you get them really well covered and evenly distributed. And while I'm stirring, I just want to... sour cherries really are one of my favorite fruits. They really taught me what it means to be seasonal. I was one of the first times I really understood that something comes to the farmer's market only for a very brief time, these 3 weeks in July, and then poof, they're gone. These, just like I said, do not store well and they don't ship well. And so it's pretty cool actually. My anniversary is July 6th, so it's usually around July 4th weekend, obviously. And this was also a favor that I gave out for my wedding. Sour cherry jam, not sour. Everyone didn't get their own pie. They got a little piece of jam. And as soon as I moved into my house, we planted sour cherry trees. So sour cherries really are, I guess, my fruit. So now I'm going to get the pie crust and put the filling in. And I like to spoon it in because sometimes if I have a little too much liquid in the bowl, then it doesn't go into the pie and like leak all over the place. So if I spoon it in instead of pouring it in, I'm more likely to make sure that that's okay. Okay, so we have the other half of the pie crust, which I pretty much rolled out, but just have to finish. And it's the same dealio as the other one. See, there's a hole, so we'll fix it. Don't worry about it. No biggie. All right, is that going to fit, you think? Oh, shit. I was smelling gas. It didn't go on right away.
Oh, I was wondering what that was.
All right. Okay, so as soon as your oven doesn't explode, all right, yeah, we're not professionals here. We're home cooks, so like I said, if we have holes, we will fix them. We're fine. And then I just use my thumb. Kind of push it on the edge, and then I'm going to put my holes in. This is to vent. And then for the very last part, you want to put an egg wash. Take one of your eggs. You can use water, you can use milk. Now, I have a brush, but if you don't have a brush, you can just use your fingers and do this. This is not necessary. It just makes it brown. Sour cherry pie ready for oven. I gotta say, not the most beautiful pie I've ever made, but what's inside that counts, right? I'm gonna put it in the oven at 400. I'm gonna check it after about 20 minutes, turn it, and usually it's about 45 minutes to an hour. Okay, well, it looks pretty good. The crust is really brown, as you can see. If you don't want it to be as brown, you can cover, put foil over it for the first 20, 30 minutes or whatever. I like it like that. and I can't get my piece out. Typical. Okay, here we go. Ready? Oh my God, that looks great. I messed up the bottom crust though. That's all right. It's in there. And it's delicious looking. There's going to be a cherry pie on my table. I hope there's one on yours too. I'm Liz Johnson with Small Bites for lohud.com. Enjoy your pie.